Welcome to the Donna Seebo Show. Donna is an international mental practitioner, psychic, award-winning author, counselor, speaker, teacher, and radio television talk show personality. She brings to the airwaves talented people from around the world who share their insights and experiences with you, the listening audience. Now, let's join Donna.
Hello, good day, good evening. Donna Seebo here. We're going to be discussing a subject this evening that so many professionals, people that are tradespeople, people that are engaged in police work, medical work, just about every industry experience. And it can happen in different levels, in different ways, but the common terminology is burnout. Now, there's some history about this, and my guest that we have, Dr. Salar Khan, is a physician who has not only a very interesting background, but this is a man who really is seeing, even in his own industry, the medical industry, a lot of sad situations occurring because people are not aware that they don't have to burn out. So this is what we're going to be discussing. If this is a challenge for you or anybody else that you know, the title of his book is called Am I Burned Out at Work? A Self-Care Solution. Dr. Khan, welcome to the program.
Hello, hi. Good evening, Donna. Thank you so much for giving me this particular opportunity to explain about my second book. So I'm ready to your questions.
Well, I am just really looking forward to chatting with you. I was really fascinated with your background. Your family was extremely supportive of you, but you really worked in some very, very intense environments in Saudi Arabia, in Pakistan, and you outline a number of those challenges that you faced when you were a young physician, when you were serving your residency and doing all kinds of activities. When did you really become aware of your own stress levels? Because any student I've ever talked with that's in medicine, they are under tremendous stress with long hours. Of course, they're having to learn a bazillion different facts. When did you first experience burnout?
Yeah, so actually, as a medical student and studying medical college, it is all stressful. Lot of studies, lot of concentration, attention, time consuming, and learning the new subject, new things. So it is stressful, but I think that it is a normal stress because it is a part. At that time, we have a motivation to become a doctor, so we are never having any issue like a burnout during the entire phase of medical studies and all those things. And after that, when I start my residency, it was also very good, and I worked with the topmost professors in Karachi, Pakistan, and I worked 36 hours every day like that way, and then I have only 12 hours off, but I never burn out because there was a passion to learn, to see, and manage the patient, and manage the critical cases and all those things. So that phase is going through very well and very happily, and after that, I did different rotations and clinics and work as a family care physician. And then I did my post-graduation in pulmonary medicine as a pulmonologist. And all done. After that, I did my internal medicine rotations, advanced courses, and dermatology advanced courses. And then I did also some work in the psychiatric hospital to gain more experience. And then in that way, I polished myself in 2, 3, 4 years in a different field and different areas, and neurology and general surgery and genitourinary surgery. So after that, I gained more confidence and faith on my own abilities and everything. So until that part is absolutely correct. No stress, no burnout, everything was fine. But when I started working at the Saudi Arabia in 1988 January, so that was a very tough time for me because the hospital director was a little bit trying to control me and evaluating my role as a physician and to see how much I am confident. So he was just chasing me for all my each cases and everything I wrote in my book also. So that was some extra stress, because if somebody is interfering and you feel that somebody is watching you and all those things, then it make some kind of underlying stress. But again, I manage very nicely. There is no problem, no burnout in that way. But later on, after 6 months, he enforced me to become a chief of medicine by force. And then I say I don't want, because I cannot work in this particular environment during last 6 months, whatever you have done with me. And technically, it was very tough time. And I know that if somebody else in place of me, they might have a severe burnout at that time. But I was confident on my abilities, and I was sustaining and managing myself and doing what is necessary for treat and manage the patients. I did very well. But after that, I become a chief of medicine, and then later on, also become the interim director of the medical services, hospital director. So I hold all top positions gradually, and then my workload is increasing, and then my salary was not increased. So ultimately, it is another issue. And then time to time, I'm also a human being, and everybody is materialistic. At that time, I was young. I went there to earn some money. So definitely my salary was 5,100 Saudi Riyal. And then in my department, I'm the boss of the other consultant and physicians, and their salary was 30 to 36,000 Saudi Riyal per month. So it is 5-6 times more than me, because they are foreign qualified. And I was having post-graduation and all those experiences, everything from Pakistan. So ultimately, according to the Ministry of Health, they cannot give me the raise or anything else. So ultimately, this is another point to be burned out. But I changed myself, and I was developing this frustration, exhaustion, and all early phases of the burnout. But I realized that because I come there to work in Saudi Arabia because of my choice. So ultimately, I want to see, and I'm getting opportunities to hold various positions, crucial positions, conducting topmost meetings in the hospital, managing the hospital as a whole, and taking care of the human resources. 350 hospital employees, nurses, doctors, everyone is under me. And I was managing my patient in the clinic, inpatient, outpatient, and ER, and all those things. So really, it was too much work, and I want to see where I stand with all those type of the challenges. So then I start controlling myself, my exhaustion, my frustrations and all those things, and I say that it is my choice. I'm not looking for any. If they cannot give, they are also correct, because according to the Ministry of Health policy, I cannot have better salary because of the local degree from Pakistan. So then that make me comfortable. And after that, my early phase of the burnout is gone, and then I work over there for 5.5 years and everything like that. And after that, I resign. I come back to Pakistan, and then I back to Saudi Arabia and America also. So in that way, this is the entire story. So I learned myself how to control my early phases of burnout. There must be some logic. In the beginning, I was also like other people, high expectation, high salary, more money, and all those things. But gradually, I understand myself that I'm not looking for more money. I was just asking because of my nature of the work, because I'm controlling the whole department, my salary must be up to the mark. But according to the policy, is not, no problem. So that's the reason.
One of the many points that you bring out in the book, and I appreciated your sharing what you found to be very aggravating and very agitating, but you say never underestimate the power of self-care. This is something that I think Americans really have a tough time with. It has been reported time and time again that Americans work more and do more stuff than most other people in other countries. And this goes on, and they say they don't take enough time to balance out to be rest. But one of the points you bring out, which I really can relate to, is the emotions. How we emotionally respond to things. And this was one of the disciplines that you found that was very important for you. You found out that you realized that you had a choice. You could either be agitated and aggravated, or you could look at things as they were, the rules, the regulations, etc., and the work. You absolutely love being a doctor. And this is something that has just been a real passion for you. And so that was your commitment. That was something for you that was most important. And a lot of times you learned how to speak up and how to speak out and stand your ground and not be intimidated or threatened by someone. And that takes living experience. That is not easy for a lot of us to do. But when you learn how to do it, it does give you confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And I remember that, and I'm going to thank for my parents when I was young, 12, 13, 15 years of age. So I got a very good environment, and I gained confidence. My parents give me more opportunities to work at home, different things, and they are sharing this decision-making, things like that. And then they told me that the discipline is important, respect for the others and senior people, educated people, greater than your education is someone, we have to respect them, we have to be obedient with them. And ultimately, they told me that how you can control your emotions, because time will come when you will earn money, whatever you want. It's not a problem. If it is in your luck, the money is, it will come to you. Don't worry about it. But you have to focus and dedicate it for your work and what you're supposed to do it. You are a doctor. You are going to work for the humanity and people and suffering and all those things. So my main priority is towards that direction. But at the same time, if there was a little injustice, I bring out that issue with the hospital director, Ministry of Health over there. And they are totally, absolutely right, because it is their policy. So I cannot do anything. I say, no problem. And I will continue working, and I'm taking every time more and more extra work and new project and complex issues I was dealing with. And what happened? At the end, I got the wealth of my knowledge, emotion control, balance, decision-making. I know how to find the real cause of the foundational level of the critical issues and problems and to resolve it at the topmost leadership level. So ultimately, I got those type of additional benefits and everything, and that's why I wrote my first book about the unlocking the natural born leader's ability, because that I developed there. If I would not be there, I could not know that whatever I have entire abilities hidden in me, I never find it. So I go through all those process and through the burnout process, and I can have a real feeling in my heart how the people or the victim of the burnout people, professional people, how they feel. They have a tuition fee, debt, educational, so many things. So ultimately, I decided to write this book and give some heads up and give better orientation and to know how they can identify the issue and where to go for their treatment or their help.
This is something that, as a medical professional yourself, you say, if you are suppressing your emotions, if you are not looking honestly at where you are, if you are in the kind of work that really you're not suited for, you are setting yourself into a positioning of having a lot of stress that you don't need. And yet there are times that we are going to work in jobs that are not our favorite thing, because it's sort of like going to school. You go to school to get an education so that you can be good in a particular professional environment, whether it is becoming a plumber, a butcher, a baker, a technician of software. Education assists you, but the working marketplace requires that you even go further and that you demonstrate your skills and abilities. And this is something that you bring out in the book, and you talk about how people need to really become acquainted with who they really are. Are they sort of extroverted? Are they introverted? You actually could have a combination of both within yourself, but it's really having integrity with who you are and what is most meaningful to you. And in your work, in your particular profession, you do have a real passion for it. So for you, you said, then I'll give my very best, and eventually you were recognized for your disciplines and your capabilities of working with people and communicating with people and resolving problems. I think many might say, gee whiz, you were lucky, but what they don't realize is that you have to work at this. This isn't something that just happens overnight. There's no fairy godmother that waves a magic wand. It takes a lot of work and effort, like you yourself have gone through, and that's what your book is about, is trying to help people understand that there's a reason why they have reached that burnout. Who came up with the term burnout anyway?
Yeah, this was in 1961. There was a case of burnout noted by physician, and patient was suffering from leprosy. So ultimately, they bring out that wording, and later on, the other guy, he was also the psychologist, and they are working in different clinics of some drug abuse and all those things. So ultimately, they notice that the people who are working, volunteers, they become frustrated and burn out because of the hectic and too much high-pressure work. So ultimately, these things are time to time there, and so in that way they also recognize the different phases of the burnout. And then Miss Latch, she is also a pioneer of developing the research and all those things related to burnout, and then she make a very good progress, and the industries, they are using the model from Miss Latch, their inventory, to early detect the burnout cases and all those things. And so actually this burnout term in 1974, Herbert Freudenberger, so he used that term for the volunteer working in drug addiction clinic. And then 1961, Graham Greene, and he was a doctor, and he reported in a magazine or newspaper a burnout case. And it was in Belgium, Congo, and one patient was having a leprosy, and then they used burnout because of that particular case reference. So this is the little background and history. And for a long time, most of the people, they don't know what exactly it is burnout. And then I practiced as a family practice in 1983, 85, and until 87. And one patient used to come to my clinic for the treatment for the acute exacerbation of bronchial asthma and all those things. Everybody knows that the asthmatic attack is precipitated by emotional distress and all those things. And when I was taking detailed history, and I noted in my book also, so still I remember that he was telling the difficulties at the work environment. He's complaining about so many things, and he was a banker and all those things, and he was saying that he just want to take early retirement because of the work environment is not good. He cannot maintain this daily activities and all those things, and if he is under too much stress, he precipitated asthmatic attack. At that time, I was not aware about this terminology burnout, but technically it was. And then I treated that patient with some anti-anxiety medicine, little dose, and then giving this bronchodilator inhaler and control the asthmatic attack, and he was good. But in 1989, I just came to know that he got early retirement because he cannot sustain the pressure or stress of the work to maintain his health stable.
Mm-hmm. So this is something that I think many people feel and experience. And here in the United States, we are very, very fortunate because we do have options. We can change our work. We can become better educated in other arenas that maybe we are suited for. We can make shifts and changes. Many people in different parts of the world do not have that opportunity. And they become physically ill, they're emotionally, absolutely, totally, completely drained, And there is so much that goes on with the mind that if you believe that you really cannot do something, then there's just going to be a hard time convincing you to do otherwise. And this is why I think in today's world, the mind-body-spirit connection, which I know you understand very well, is so significant. But I was saddened to hear about how many physicians are committing suicide. We have this with the men coming back with post-traumatic stress syndrome from the wars that they've been in. And we have all of these different environments, the trauma environments. You think of the firemen that are fighting the fires in Australia and the other people that are over there volunteering and fighting. There is this tremendous emotional stress that they go through, and physical stress and mental stress, because many of them are putting their lives on the line, and they're very concerned about others. This is something you talk about in the book. This is something you talk about in Am I Burned Out at Work? How they can help themselves to relieve that stress, to be able to let it go. What would you say to someone that would come up to you, let's say right now, if we had someone that said, I just feel totally numb. I go to work, I just am not able to perform. What would you want them to know?
Yeah, the first thing is that I have some very positive indicators mentioned in my book. And sometimes so many people, they come to me and they say, if, for example, I'm going to my work in an elevator and then I say good morning, they say, what is good in the morning? And then it means they are the negative thinkers. And then they say that they don't want to come to the work and they hate the job. So when anyone using that kind of the work, it gives me a very clear idea that they are not passion, not love with their work or job or anything else. So ultimately, I will suggest those people, if they are having that type of feeling, negative feeling, every day they think they may take an early retirement. So many people, when I talk, they say that, I want to take early retirement. I say, why? You are still young. So they say, I don't want to do the work, I hate this work and that and that. So ultimately, this type of this feeling, and they cannot manage the work and life imbalance and all. And then the people who are having early phases of the burnout or advanced phases of the burnout, if I can see their face and eye contact, I can easily identify that they are having some problem going on in their mind. And then I start evaluating. I was somewhere, I mentioned in the book also, and I noticed that and then that person introduced me that, he is also doing some kind of the research and all those things. And then for me, he looks very worried and anxious and all those things. And then I little bit provoke and I ask, I can enter into your privacy, I can ask something because I feel that you are having some trouble. And then immediately it burst out and he said, yes, I'm having a burnout because of this and that. My performance is very bad. I cannot perform well at things and my efficiency is deteriorating day by day. And after that, after evaluating, and then I guide him, and then I forward him to go to the primary care physician for the evaluation, and then he may suggest you to go to the psychologist or psychiatrist to get some baseline treatment, and you are going to be okay. It's not a problem. The treatment is available. We have a lot of good medication and all those things, so it's not a big issue. So these are the things, and then it is my suggestion for my listener at this point, if really I just prepared so many self-evaluation tool in my book so they can evaluate. And the other thing is that in the beginning of the book, I mentioned about the personality, because for me, the personality is very important. And the most of the times, the people, they don't know what type of the personality they are. And some people, they are extroverted. They feel very happy with the outside of the world and communicating and sociable. But their performance is poor. And some are introverted. They sit at home and they gain energy by action and doing all those things. It is another story. So, as you mentioned that the extrovert or introvert, no one is in a one way. It's a combination. Everyone is having a combination here and there. But the only thing is that we have to know how we can convert our negative thinking into the positive. and then we can look into the negative thought, negative thinking, because it is going to develop the stress, acute stress, and continue for a long time. It becomes chronic. And then if anything, frustration and exhaustion is continue for more than 2 weeks, it is going to lead to the early phase of the burnout. So ultimately, we have to check at that level. And then the very important thing is that when they wake up in the morning and they feel that they can call sick, it means they are not interested at work. And I am working for the last 38 years, and I have more than 468 my sick hours, and I never take that one. Every day I'm very happily and go to the work, and I have a new day, new excitement, ready for new challenges and new problems, new issues to train my mind to get more hidden talents and abilities to deal with the environment and to meet the mission and vision of the organization. So if the readers will read this book and then they can evaluate, they can go to the self-evaluation, and they can easily find, and there is a very simple early sign and symptom they can match with their scoring tool, and then they can see where they stand. And then the suggestion in the book is also given where they can find the help, where they can go. And I also prepared the primary care physician checklist, a screening tool. If anyone young patient is coming to the clinic for common flu and this and that, they can just quickly screen with 20 questions in 5 minutes. And they can see that the patient is having any early phase of burnout or not. Then they can manage the patient accordingly.
It is very interesting, the many stories that you have in your book, Am I Burned Out at Work? And this is about a self-care solution. You bring a point out that I think that we have lost sight of, and it is about critical thinking. And you feel that it should be built from an early age, which is one of the gifts that your parents gave you. And you feel that it should be taught in schools and colleges as well as at home, but the schools and colleges especially should be very strong in it. And you say it enables students to handle the stresses they're going to face in life, like the death of relatives, of divorce, or getting very, very ill. And stress management, you feel, should be a part of the curriculum. This stress is a part of life. There's no way you're not going to have stress. It's going to hit you one way or the other. And I really respect and appreciate your positioning of taking ownership of your mind, of your emotions, and saying, wait a minute, I have a choice here. I can either become very agitated, be so miserable that I can't sleep, I can't do anything, or am I going to look at this with clear eyes and maybe sleep on the situation for a night, and that's just an illustration, and then look at something with new eyes in the morning. This is a discipline that I think many people could benefit from. And this is something I know I have had to learn. I haven't learned it perfectly, but I have learned it. And it really is important. And we're seeing, I think, demonstrations publicly by so many different people who just are not exercising that at all. And the side effects are really negative. So your book, Am I Burned Out at Work? A Self-Care Solution, really, I think, is a good, useful tool. And people can find out about you, Dr. Khan. They can go to Dr. Salar Khan, and that's doctor spelled out, D-O-C-T-O-R, Salar, S like Sam, A-L-A-R, and then Khan, K-H-A-N.com. I want to thank you so much for being with me. It has been a pleasure, and I wish you continued success. You certainly have earned it.
Yeah, so thank you so much for this opportunity, and I am writing my third book, and it is about the global leadership, and I hope it is going to be another good book on the leadership and how to manage and work for the betterment of the world and the humanity.
Well, and, Dr. Khan, you really do have your hands full, but you do love what you do, and that makes all the difference in the world. Again, thank you for being my guest.
Welcome. Bye.
Goodbye. This is Donna Seebo, and we are taking a break. We're going to be back in just a moment. Check out Am I Burned Out at Work? A self-care solution. Dr. Khan has been very succinct about this, and it's really, we were sort of talking about the physician aspect, but truly this applies to anyone in any profession. It enables you to see that you have options, and those options can make you feel free as a